Mhm.
Okay. Well, good morning
Good morning.
Good morning.
and welcome to Southern California, chapter of the California Association for the Education of Young Children. I'm Gloria Davis, the new president of Southern California chapter as of January 1st. We are so appreciative of our outgoing immediate past president, Lilian Alvarez. She did an amazing job with this organization. Along with our VP of membership, France Chasing, we have planned a wonderful workshop for you today. We will teach you in a box, exploring the challenges and the limitations of Zoom teaching while opening up possibilities together with Sylvia Roth. She will be introduced a little later by our VP of Membership Program. We are delighted that you have joined us on this beautiful sunny Southern California afternoon. Nurturing our mission, nurturing the growth and development of early childhood leaders in Southern California and advocating for the highest quality early childhood education for all young children. The Southern California chapter of the California Association for the Education of Young Children is comprised of a board of directors and various committees. Both the board and its committees serve the members. There are various ways that you can get involved by serving on the board and the committees, such as the policy, play matters, program, communication, membership, and the satellite communities. Just a little Zoom keeping. If you would like to, you could click the box on the right hand. You have the full screen, press escape to for the full screen. Also, you can click the Q&A icon and type in your questions during the workshop today. And feel free to watch the chat. We will be putting information in the chat today, and you can also share that with us. Also, our program today, I'm Gloria Davis. This is the information part and the resources. And next you will hear from Fran, our Vice President of Membership, and our presentation today by Sylvia Roth. And then we'll have questions and answers. Also, you can find resources and information about this event and other events on our website. So take those sites down, and we will also be putting that information in the chat a little later. Also, we have had a face mask fundraiser going on for several months. So please visit, and they are so beautiful. Also, feel free to donate to us. You see the website here. This is a great time for you to participate. Our nominations are open. We are open for President-elect, Vice President of Programs, Recording Secretary, and the Treasurer. And you can put the application up at SCAAEYC.net. So please visit. We would love for you to get involved. And our presenter will be introduced a little later. More resources, please feel free to contact your resource and referral agency. And we have this information here. We will put it in the chat later. Also, tell us about your experience today. Please take our survey, and we will be given professional growth hours. So in order to get that certificate, you must do the survey. So turn that in, and we will email you the survey. So again, as president, I just want to thank you for being here today. I know it's many things that you can be involved in, but thank you for being here, and thank Fran and her wonderful team that's helping and putting this event on today. So at this time, I'm going to turn it back over to our Vice President of Program, Fran Chasen. Please help me welcome Fran.
Thank you, Gloria. I have the pleasure of introducing Sylvia Rath this morning, our presenter. She's a preschool director and also a parenting coach. And she had, whoops, I just lost, of course, technology here. Many of you have been identified with this new challenges for people in the field of early care and education. How do we continue to support families and children during the pandemic? and this huge upheaval that all of us are dealing with, both on a personal and a professional level. Sylvia has graciously agreed to sort of share with us her tips and suggestions for how to keep connections strong with the families that we are working with. And we're delighted that Sylvia is here today. Her additional information on her bio can be found on our flyer, but in the interest of time, we'd like to move forward and have Sylvia start sharing with us.
Thank you, Fran. And thank you, Nikki and Gloria. Nice to meet you, Gloria. Congratulations. Thank you for stepping up and doing the leadership role. I'm not sure if anybody can spotlight me to make me big. Nikki, can you do that? Do you
Let's
think?
see.
Let's see it in my kitchen.
I pinned you. Let me
Is
see.
that better? Is that better?
Maybe put on speaker view. No, that brings me up to Gloria.
I thought I put you on speaker view. Let's try it again.
Okay.
Is that working? I see you as speaker.
Yeah, I still see me as little.
Well, let's see. Maybe we can make you the host. Let's see.
She is one of the
I'm a co-host. Yeah.
I think it's on your computer, Sylvia.
Oh, okay. So you can see it big on yours. Okay, good, fine. So, you know, you can tell I haven't gotten all the Zoom stuff down, but I can tell you one of the most important things of Zoom is to have, let me see, I'll be right back, is to have good lighting. Because I see so many people on Zoom, all I can see is their silhouette because the light is behind them. You need to make sure the light is in front of you. Either it's a window in front of you, or I have a ring light, which is in the notes on my, which will be sent out to you, that a ring light is a really wonderful investment. Also, here's another Zoom tip, is that you can go into the Zoom menu and click on touch up your appearance. Okay, I'm 62 years old. I don't want to look at all these wrinkles while I'm Zooming. It makes me self-conscious. So kind of softens things up a little bit, makes it a little easier. Now, I've been a director for 21 years, and the last thing I ever imagined is that I'd be running a school through a pandemic. When it started last March, we closed down our school and we furloughed all our teachers, and now I'm the only one left. Hopefully we're reopening in March, but a lot of our families are still too scared to come back to school on site. So we're going to be opening up a micro school, and I'm still going to be running the Zoom school until people feel more comfortable enough to come on site. Maybe after everybody gets vaccinated. So I can tell you, I'm the last person who should be doing the technology thing and running Zoom, because I used to always have to call in my younger teachers to the office and say, hey, help me with this, I'm stuck. And now there's nobody to help. My son said, Google it. Good advice. There are tons of great Zoom tutorials online. Also, because I'm the only one that I'm trying to manage being, keeping the kids' attention as well as pulling things up at the same time. So I'm still, you know, trying to polish that up. So the best thing to do is to spotlight yourself when you get on there, and to mute all your kids until later on, and you can teach them how to mute and unmute. I'll talk a little bit more about that. So I wanted to share just a couple of little photos of where I am now. They're kind of silly. See if I can share my screen here. There we go. I'll give you a little slideshow here. That was me before. Now. crazy stuff because keeping 3 to 5-year-olds watching a screen with me is kind of challenging. Luckily, I've always been a bit of a hot dog, so that works well for me. But one thing that we need to do is make sure our kids are set up for success, as well as our parents and grandparents. So really helping them, educate them on Zoom, telling them that it's best to Zoom with a large screen, a larger computer, or they can plug their computer into their TV set. Kids really respond well to that. I do a lot of music and movement too, so I want kids to be able to get up from the desk. God knows we've all been sitting at a desk too long. And to make it easier on parents, we try and use the supplies that they may have at home. Now, some schools have been really great at this Zoom stuff and maybe sending out packages every week. Our tuition is really low. We can't afford to do that. So I try and use things that people can gather at home. So one of the things that most people can have, and hopefully you have these sticks with you, or if you have a couple of wooden spoons, chopsticks work, toilet paper rolls, anything. And so if you've got them, get them out, because preschool workshops are usually pretty active. So I'm hoping you can get active a little bit with me. Now, one of the things that I've discovered is to find things. Whoops. I count a lot on YouTube. And this is what my young teachers told me to do. Because I was like, where are you going? How do I get my music? Well, a lot of it I get on YouTube and I use it that way. Now, I don't want to run a lot of YouTube videos because I don't want it to seem too much like TV. And I think it's really good to have the eye connection and to be able to see my mouths, to see our whole face, because we're teaching about feelings and expression and trying to make some kind of personal connection over the screen. And it's an opportunity for them to see somebody without a mask on. So anyway, get your sticks out and get ready to do a little bit of movement. I gotta make some room here. So I'm gonna stand up and move back a little bit. I'll move my screen up a little bit so you can see me a little bit more and get ready to do some movement. So you know how you introduce things to kids first so they know what to expect. So you put your sticks in the air with a 1, 2, 3. Can you put your sticks to the side with a 1, 2, 3? Can you put your sticks behind your back? This is kind of tricky. Can you put your sticks end to end? Well, and put your sticks on your knees crossed. Now this is a short song, just a couple minutes, so bear with me, and you learn by doing. Let's go for it.
Tap your sticks in the air with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks on the floor with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks in the air with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks on the floor with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks to the right with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks to the left with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks to the right with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks to the left with the 1, 2, 3. Rub your sticks together. Shake them high above you. Rub your sticks together. Pass them both behind you. Cross your sticks, tap your knees with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks end to end with the 1, 2, 3. Cross your sticks, tap your knees with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks end to end with the 1, 2, 3. Hammer left with the right with the 1, 2, 3. Hammer right with the left with the 1, 2, 3. Hammer left with the right with the 1, 2, 3. Hammer right with the left with the 1, 2, 3. Rub your sticks together. Shake them high above you. Rub your sticks together. pass them both behind you. Tap your sticks in the air with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks on the floor with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks in the air with the 1, 2, 3. Tap your sticks on the floor with the 1, 2, 3.
All right. So you can see, you can find all kinds of treasures. Whoops. You can find all kinds of treasures on the internet. And you know what? This kind of shows you the age of how old I am, because Hot Palmer did a series of CDs and, well, tapes when I started teaching, did a series of tapes and CDs. And I love the rhythm, that it's not too fast. It's not overstimulating. And it's really simple. And it's working on small motor skills, large motor skills, and basically getting the body moving. So I'm going to talk a lot about just doing circle times all together, right? Because a lot of stuff, even when you come back to school, I'm hoping you'll find this useful. Also, we don't want to stress out parents. So if you give them a whole bunch of materials at once, they'll get stressed out. One little girl told me, she said, you know, it was just too much. She said, too much together. And I could tell she was echoing what her mom had told her. So instead of having sticks, she didn't have any sticks or anything to use. And I said, well, what are we gonna do? What should you use? Do you have anything else going on? And she said, oh, I'll use my hands. And now she comes on, she never has sticks, but she always uses her hands. Now, that's a really great example of being flexible. You know, some kids will have lost it. I don't have any sticks. But really teaching them to be flexible, because we all need to be flexible right now. Everybody knows. So usually my Zoom times start with an opening song. And sometimes lately I've been using sticks for breaking up names, like, hello, Gloria. Hello, Gloria. Hello, Gloria. Thanks for stepping up. And you can go, kids love hearing their names, right? And that brings them in. Also, I like to incorporate some music and movement. Sometimes I'll put on a science experiment, launch rockets with balloons. And you can see on the notes that I'm going to share with you some great science experiments that you can do over Zoom with kids. Now, of course, we'd rather have kids hands-on. And one thing to really say is Zoom is not a replacement for preschool. And to tell parents that. We're not trying to be preschool here, because a big part of preschool is being on site together with other children. So I really prefer to call it homeschooling enrichment. We're gonna give them some support from home with literacy and ideas, and hope that they can expand from that. So usually my Zooms are only half an hour to 40 minutes with children. We're doing it 3 days a week, and we're charging only $180, no, $250 a month for those 3 classes a week. And it's just kind of keeping our community together. That's one of the reasons, is I thought we're a co-op school, we're very small, and I really want to keep that sense of community together. I do a lot of emergent curriculum, which is like, how do you do that when you're not with the kids, right? When you're not overhearing what's going on or asking the kids. So you think about the general things. We know a lot about our families, whether there's been a new baby in the home, if there's a lot of conflicts at home or tantrums, and you know, there are a lot of power struggles when kids are at home with their parents 24 hours a day, right? So we can deal with that, and working through literacy as much as we can to bring that out. I also use persona dolls a lot. I'll show you one I have here. Timmy's always doing silly things. He's always wearing his mask wrong, for example. So he'll pop up, and the kids love pointing things out that are wrong. His mask, Sylvia, teacher Sylvia, his mask is over. Timmy, remember, we have to put our mask on this way. And then they'll say, no, his nose is sticking out. So we can use these challenges, which we know are going on at home. Timmy gets into all kinds of trouble too. Sometimes he just throws things around the house, or he has big tantrums. And kids really love to see lives through Timmy. So I'm gonna share a little book real quick. It's not very long, but I love this book and it really touched me. And it kind of is my mantra for getting through this because it's been almost a year. I thought this was just gonna be a couple of months, right? So this is called Not Forever, But For Now. And that's my mantra. When I start to feel down or lonely, I think this is not forever, just for now. And this is a great book and you can find it on Amazon. It's in my notes too at the end, so you don't have to write all this stuff down. I'm just gonna read it to you. It's very short. Not forever, but for now. I'm not going to my school. I'm staying home with my family. I go on bug hunts in the backyard, one of the silver linings. I make a picture to send to my grandma. And I'll ask the kids, have you made a picture for your grandma? That's why I like to do it in person as opposed to just running a video of the story. I talk to my friends and teachers online, but I want to be with them in person. I play with my mom and dad and my sibling. I play in my own room. I take a walk in my neighborhood with my family. Sometimes I see our neighbors and they're all wearing masks. Not forever, but for now, I'm staying home while the nurses and doctors are taking care of sick people in the hospitals. Sometimes I feel sad and I sigh. Sometimes I cry. I want to go somewhere with my friends to play tag or pretend. I want to go back to school. I want to climb on the play structure at the park, but there's caution tape there telling us that we can't. Sometimes I feel mad and I stomp my feet and I yell and I don't like it that things are different. Look at her face. She doesn't look happy about this. She does look kind of mad. I want the people to stop wearing the masks. I want to see their faces. I want to see children playing together again. Some things are the same and some things are different. We have bedtime stories. Sometimes I play a game with my parents and we laugh. We make muffins together and bring them outside and sitting looking at the clouds. We wrestle and chase each other and snuggle. Not forever, but for now. I want to know when I can play with my friends again. Sometimes I feel scared or nervous, and sometimes I feel a little shaky. I hug my mom and I hold my lovey. And then my mom or dad holds me and says, "You're safe and loved, and this is not forever, but it is for now." That's the end. I think this speaks to a lot of us. I recommended this to our parents in the beginning of the pandemic. And some of these feelings too, I use my persona dolls for when we're bringing it up, bringing it back. Everybody's having these feelings, I think. Let's see. So some of these things on Zoom too, it's hard to control the kids. And I get a lot of good ideas from kids on Zoom too. For example, last summer, I noticed there was a kid on Zoom and her whole time she was painting her face. And she was seeing herself in the Zoom, probably large string, and she was decorating her face really covering the whole thing. And I was going on doing my stories and, the curriculum that I'd planned out. But then I thought, what she's doing is a little bit more interesting than what I'm doing. So I pointed out, well, I noticed you're painting your face. Should we paint our face next time? We can get everybody to bring face paints. So we had a face painting day, and kids love painting their own faces. I kind of had to send an email out in advance to kind of warn the parents too, and suggest that kids can do it for themselves. And it really has much more meaning than the parents decorating their faces in a way. So we had a face painting day. Other things came up, like somebody got a pandemic pup. I did too. And so we had a dog week where people shared their dogs. We read the stories. Where is it? Oh, you probably all know this story. Harry the dirty dog. Yeah. So we read. So I kind of use what's going on in our community. I don't plan way in advance so I can do what's going on in kids' lives. Then I do some things to just liven it up. On Monday, we had a pajama day where everybody wore pajamas, and we read Llama Llama Red Pajama and just danced around in our PJs. It was really fun. Then we had Build a Fort Day. Kids love building a fort with their couches or whatever they need. So I sent an email out to the parents beforehand. I said, you have some materials to be able to build a fort, and kids can build a fort themselves and be inside it, right? So I'm going to share just one thing here. Let's see if I can get it on the screen here. Oh, there is somebody inside a fort that she made herself. And you can see that she was engaged on Zoom. Right. So,
Sylvia, it was just blank.
huh? Oh, it was just white.
Yeah, it didn't show anything.
Oh dear. Okay, let me see if I can, if it shares now. Ah, okay. And you know what? These kids are trained to tell me this stuff too. See?
There we go.
There you go. You can see, look at her eyes. She's really excited. And the mom took this picture during the Zoom and sent it to me. And she'd built her own fort. And she was in there the whole time. And it was great to see what other kids came up with. And this is a silver lining of what kids can do as opposed to what they can't. We also, you saw on my slideshow, we had a fairy day because just for fun. So the kids all dressed up as fairies, and anybody could be a fairy, boy or girl. My husband dressed up as a fairy. We did a little pantomime with it, and we made fairy dust water bottles, which were really helpful for meditation, to have a water bottle that you put in a little oil and sparkles and food coloring. You can shake it up, and as it calms down, you can calm down. So these were really great calming techniques that I felt like it was something that people needed. Kids need to also learn to do things for themselves, which is kind of hard when they're at home with parents or nannies who are doing things for them. So the other day we did a make a sandwich Zoom, make your own lunch Zoom. So I had the parents get out all the ingredients. Some of the kids were making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. One kid added turkey to their peanut butter and jelly. And pickles. And we read a story about called Sally's Super Frustrating Day. So I was looking for that book. I use a lot of different books to kind of launch off ideas. So I'm going to share you some of those books. Also one day, which was kind of fun, we did a superhero day where you dress as your own superhero and then you explain what your superpowers are. And that, you can imagine, was really fun. Repeating things too, I think, is okay. Kids love repetition, just as we're doing with our circle times, so they get a chance to really explore things and feel more confident. Even the stick things, kids get more and more confident with being able to do it. The first time you might get messed up, and so you get an opportunity to try it again and again. So remember way back when you were in school and you did curriculum-based, literacy-based curriculum? Well, that's what I've done. So you can see some examples here. If anybody knows this book, Mean Soup, it's like, no, a lot of parents earlier in the pandemic were losing it. So we're kids and having tantrums. And this book, Mean Soup, is about a kid who has a Horace felt mean and he stepped on a flower. He had a really tough day. And then his mother said, hello, and Horace hissed like that. Well, his mom knew just what to do and put a pot on the stove to cook. And then taking a deep breath, she screamed into the pot. And then she said, your turn. And then Horace stood up on a stool and screamed into the pot. So you can guess what the follow-up activity is here, right? So I told people to bring a pot to the Zoom, and each kid for their share time held their pot and screamed into it. Great therapy. And I use this every year in person too, but it was really helpful for our Zoom here, and kids got, the more the kids kept doing it, the louder they got. And they really were able to get out some big feelings there, I think. I also do parent support groups, and I shared this book, The Rabbit Listened. You got to get this book. It's so great. And especially as reminders for all of us that we can't always fix things for children. It's not healthy to always fix things for children. And we certainly can't fix a pandemic, right? So this is a really great book just about listening to kids rather than solving their problems. So I love reading this not only to children, but I read it to parent support groups. And so they can see what kind of parent they are. Are they a fixer or a talker or a yeller? Or dismiss, oh, don't worry, it's not a problem. So I really recommend this book. There are also all kinds of feelings that come up. This is a great book, The Chocolate Covered Cookie Tantrum. I don't know if anybody's seen this book about a kid who really has a horrible temper tantrum. Now, before I do this, before I read this book, I usually have Timmy come in. And Timmy's in a tough mood. And he keeps popping into the Zoom and maybe throwing some things around. Timmy, and then he gets in a big tantrum. And the kids can live through the puppet, right? And maybe Sandy comes in to try and work with him and play. And then he might push Sandy. And Sandy might say, that's not okay with me. What's going on? So you can go through your conflict resolution, step-by-step conflict resolution too with puppets. Yeah, they can be very cooperative. But actually so can kids when they're resolving conflicts often the time, once they've had time to cool down, right? So we're gonna show them meditations online on how to cool down with taking a deep breath in and then blowing out the birthday candles. And we do that together. So I highly recommend this book too, because I do that as a follow-up. Some kids I have individual Zooms with. I had one little girl that was having a problem having a bowel movement, and I think she was just taking on the stress of the pandemic, and her mom works on the news a lot, and I think she'd heard a lot about it, so she was having problems pooping. So I had an individual Zoom with just her, and I read her this book, It Hurts When I Poop. And it was really amazing. It's amazing how books can help kids. It takes it outside of them. And afterwards, the mom emailed me and said, thank you so much, she's pooped. And there's one thing you can't get kids to, you can't make kids eat, you can't make kids poop, but you can help them relax a little bit about it and try not to put too much pressure on it. Because I think all of us might be having a little intestinal problems lately. Now, I also use a lot of props. So You can sing, Old MacDonald had a farm, right? And on this farm, he had a cow with a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there. Now, what kid doesn't have farm animals at home, right? Most kids have some kind of plastic farm animals like this. And so I ask kids to bring the farm animals. And so it can be more interactive where they're gonna hold up the farm animals when it comes to their turn. I also have a lot of baby dolls. There's one thing that I know you guys probably know. 5 little babies jumping on the bed are 5 little monkeys. I use 5 little babies. 5 little babies jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, no more babies jumping on the bed. Kids love that one. Now, you know, we're all locked in our own little bubbles. And so I think it's really important to also include diversity in your stories. You know, sometimes, you know, there's some great diversity books, which I put up on and you know, the book list that I gave you is just a tip of the iceberg. I'm sure many of you have a good collection, a library, hopefully. This is Happy in Our Skin. And we are all alike and we're all different. But you know what? I like just stories with characters of different color. You know, just to putting it into a good story. I love this book, Amazing Grace. It's a great story about a little girl who wants to be a ballerina. And so you can find some really good books representing different communities too. So we can do that even when we're in our bubbles. I do a lot to do with the weather too. Although, gosh, in Southern California, we don't have enough of it. So get out your sticks. This is a great book called Mud Puddle. And I want you to get out your sticks another time, one more time. So get out those sticks together. And I'm gonna teach you a real short one that those of you in Northern California, places that have weather, you're probably more likely to be able to use this. And you talk about making loud noises like boom, 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 and soft noises like the raindrops, pitter patter. And you might even have a thunder tube. You talk about thunder, and you make the thunder sound. We're gonna make a thunder sound with our thunder sticks too. And in the notes, I'm giving you the words to this. I'm not very good at remembering words or tunes. So I try and do things that are super simple. So here's how it goes. You start like this, ready? Hear the thunder all around as my rhythm sticks hit the ground. Boom, 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 boom. Hit the ground, make a thunder sound. Hear the raindrops hit the ground as my rhythm sticks hit the ground. Pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, hit the ground with a raindrop sound. Boom, 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 pitter patter, boom, 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 pitter patter, boom, 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 pitter patter, shh. And then you can repeat it. Kids love that one. Such a simple one. Then we talk about tantrums. I'm going to get back to tantrums and discipline, right? Because parents are losing it and they need some help with guidance. With kids don't need to be punished right now. They need some guidance. And they also need an opportunity to cool off. So I love this book called Jared's Cool Out Space. And Jared makes his own space where he can go and cool out in a cardboard box that he decorates himself. Now, you know the follow-up activity here. Everybody has a box because we're all shopping Amazon. So everybody's got plenty of boxes. So the kids can decorate the box And then all week, we did our story times sitting in boxes. That was really fun. Oh, I can share a couple more books. Then there's also things to do with the pandemic. I forgot this one. Germs are not for sharing. And this one, those downright nasty, dirty, downright disgusting, but invisible germs. This is really good too. So we can remember to wash our hands. But I read these kind of on a regular basis. Another thing that everybody has at home usually, or a scarf that they can get from their mom's closet perhaps. So I ask everybody to get out a scarf. If you don't have a scarf, it's okay. You can use your hands. And we're gonna make our scarves into something really tiny right here and keep it hidden in our heart. And we're gonna pull it out at just the right time. And you guys know the song, I'm only gonna sing one verse. Please forgive my tone and my voice. Luckily, 3 to 5 year olds don't notice that it's out of key most of the time. Here we go. And this is really about you guys. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. To all the teachers on the Zoom, you're gonna let it shine. All the teachers on our Zoom, you're gonna let it shine. All the teachers on our Zoom, you're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. So, you can see, you know what? One of the silver linings of this pandemic is I love teaching. Being a director is very different. Being a teacher, you can get really creative. And I'm hoping this sparks you off. I know it's a long time to be on Zoom, and some of us are going to be on site again and then back on Zoom, and back and forth. But I usually make some little notes. So I have some cards available in case I have to do a really quick Zoom later on when we come back on site. But I keep some cards available so I can pull them out and get ideas very quickly, as well as a lot of these ideas you can use just in your circle time in general at your school. One other song. Anyway, I've got so many notes that I'm sharing in this Zoom, because this could be a series. There's so many interesting things to do with children. Science, for example, a lot of women are kind of scared of science, which is really hard on preschool because there's so many female preschool teachers, and they say, I'm bad at science. Women, unfortunately, were not pushed to take science classes. And science is so much fun. You don't need to even know a lot about it. But I gave you some links. Steve Spangler's science video explains how to do it. Very simple ingredients. I made snow in a jar the other day. We've launched balloon rockets. They're all things with ingredients that you probably already have around with you. And as you get excited about science, kids will get more excited about science, and encouraging little girls to go out there and become scientists. So to make things a little bit more scientific, I have a costume for that. Whenever I'm going to do a science project, I put on my science coat. And that's when the kids know that we're about to do a hands-on science experiment. So I want you all to embrace all the different elements that you can share and learn from them yourself. And you don't have to have all the answers. If a kid asks you a question, you can say, well, let me think about that and get back to you. Because that's where we're really teaching. We're not teaching that we're the source of all information, because kids have some great information too. But we're the source. We're telling them where we can get resources from books, libraries, and Googling it. So with that, I think my time's up. But I just wanted to say thank you all for inviting me. And thank you all for really being heroes and keeping your communities together. And I hope everybody can get vaccinated pretty soon and we can remain doing our good work.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. There's a few questions that people were asking in the chat, and I just want to let you know that you can ask questions in the chat. If you have an idea that you want to share, raise your hand so that you can actually speak instead, maybe, or you could put it in the chat as well. But one of them was the Hat Palmer song, the title. What was that title?
Tap Your Sticks.
Tap Your Sticks.
Yeah, and I think there's a link to that in the notes. And you can even Google YouTube Hat Palmer, and it'll come up with all kinds of his songs. And he uses a lot of sticks or shakers or things like that. So you can use him as a kind of base of your music and movement activities too.
One of the questions also, or comment was that this one person was having a challenge because the parents log on with the phone. Are you having that kind of experience as well?
Yeah, I had a kid in the car the other day with his phone, and all I could do was this chubby little face right up against the phone. You know, all we can do, I think, is send out emails and encourage our parents, but we know that they're living through a pandemic too. And they may not have all the resources that they need. So there may not be any other option. And they may have siblings who are doing Zooms at the same time, who are using iPads or computers. So I think being sensitive to that, and it can be frustrating, but all we can do is the best we can do and hope that it's the same for our families. So I do offer 2 different Zoom times that I haven't signed kids up into it just because life is so chaotic. So I usually give people the option. I do the same kind of Zoom at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. So if people are having a crazy day, they can log in a little later or a little earlier. So maybe sometimes if another kid is Zooming on the computer, you may be able to have your child Zoom on the computer while the older child's taking a break.
Okay. There was also several questions about the sound. They found that the sound was really great when you played the YouTube video, and they were wondering, how do you play it? How did you get such great sound? Are you doing it from a different device than your computer?
No, I'm not. I'm doing it through the audio of the computer. And, you know, sometimes I've noticed when I share some things, sometimes I Zoom from home too. Sometimes if the bandwidth isn't big enough, I think the quality isn't so good. So you might check with your internet company and make sure that you have a better bandwidth. I don't know anything about this. My husband extended our bandwidth when I complained that when I was sharing videos on the screen share that they were getting stuck and jerky. So I extended my bandwidth at home, which helped a lot. But you can usually share it through your computer.
Like on a different tab, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. And you can look online. I think there are some tips too on sharing music or screen sharing.
Okay. And then there was a couple of questions about how do you send home directions for what to bring to Zoom weekly, daily? How do you communicate with the parents what they need to bring to the Zoom session?
Yeah, I usually Zoom them a day or 2 ahead of time with ingredients that I'd like them to do. Having said this, I don't want to be the the last last straw that broke the camel's back, right? Because you never know what's going on in people's lives. People are really, really stressed. We're in a purple tier here in LA, which is scary. So I don't want to get the email that gives a huge list all at once. And I haven't found that to be very successful. As well, I've realized that it's frustrating, but usually about half the parents get everything together. Or if there's a nanny at home, they usually have it all together. So it's kind of frustrating. And I have to really realize it's not about me and my feelings. It's really just a tough time for parents. So I just try and tell kids, if we're doing a project and I see that some kids don't have it, I say, don't worry, because I'm going to send your parents home an email. So if you want to do it with your parents, you can do it later on.
Okay. There was someone's asking about, there were some science activities that you were going to show.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, there's a whole workshop to do with science that I should be doing. The science activities will be in the notes that we're going to send out. There's this great website called Steve Spangler Science. I don't know if anybody's heard of them, but he has some great science ideas. And if you put in Steve Spangler in YouTube, he'll show you some great examples, from launching balloon rockets to launching off toilet paper, which that was a fun one. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to do them all today. I could do a whole new Zoom, which maybe I'll do another time if I'm invited back.
Yes.
Science, because there's so many things. And you know what? I don't know a lot about science. I got this all on the internet because there's so many instructional videos. So it talks about, for example, every action causes a reaction. And you can do that just with a balloon, blowing up a balloon and then letting it go. Letting it go is the action. And the reaction is the balloon goes flying around the room. Kids love that. They like the fart sound that the balloon makes too.
Someone's sharing a tip. Heidi says I use the extension YT-MP3 to make a MP3 from a YouTube video. It has been really helpful. Let's see if there's any others. Someone else is sharing that Zoom allows you to share computer audio only, and it does it pretty well. Let's see if there's any others. Yeah, someone else is letting us know that there's, when you share your screen, there's an option for choosing the audio. Are parents following along with you when you're doing the science experience?
Some are, most aren't. So I try not to do things that can't go horribly wrong or spill all over the computer keyboard.
Right.
So, and I warn parents ahead of time. So some parents who maybe have a setup that won't allow, they're worried something will get ruined. So a lot of my parents now have finally gotten into plugging their computers into the TV. So the kids can't, the kids won't destroy the computer by pouring things around. So, and things that are extra messy, I just do a demonstration, and then I hope that they can do it at home with the materials themselves with assistance from their parents. And some kids, just like in preschool when we're on site, right? Some kids, their parents will work with them and take the curriculum, extend it. When we're talking about dinosaurs, they'll take their kids to a museum, something. So we'll still get the same kind of cooperation from parents, and some parents will just be too busy. And so really trying to be understanding and empathetic to where our parents are now, as opposed to just feeling unappreciated and angry. Really remembering, I don't have any little kids at home. So my home life is much easier, even though I'm stressed about the vaccine. It's really, we need to all look through other people's lenses and have some empathy for each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a need, or people are really excited about you possibly doing a science one. So I think we should definitely plan on that. And someone's asking for math too. I don't know if you,
what I do with math is, and it's really hard because what we do with math is so hands-on and manipulative, right? We're used to setting out areas that are math areas that could be block areas, or one math that I do is, I've got this book called Lost and Found. And my activity, I have some penguins up here, and we can count the penguins. And then when one jumps into the sea, how many do we have left? So we can do some things like that that are more math oriented, as well as a lot of finger plays that we have, you know, that kids start counting on their fingers, right? So let me see if I can find it here.
And you also mentioned that you did some cooking, so.
Well, cooking was making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
You can also make, remember making butter? Did you ever
Yes.
make butter, Nikki? I know you probably did that when you were a teacher. You can get the kids, and this is an easy one to do, is using a small jar, and you put in a little whipping cream. This is science too. Put in a little whipping cream and have them shake it. And you can play some great shake it songs, right? And search through and find something really boogie-in. And you can do a freeze dance with it. Shake and then freeze. That keeps their attention. They can go on longer with that until it turns into butter. So you turn from a liquid to a solid. Now it's simple science. I try and stick to the simple stuff.
So listen, you can add a marble in the jar too.
Yeah, a marble in the jar. That's so, you know, really just, we can't do a lot in the amount of time that we have. So just putting these little tidbits in and opening it up. And you know how, I don't know what got you to go to school, but what got me to go to school was art projects. I took like 2 or 3 classes of art each day. So finding the loop of what kids are interested in. If they're interested in art, you can try and do some arts. I haven't been that successful at that, doing art on Zoom, and maybe you guys have some better ideas. We did shakers, and now we use them when we do music and movement, you know, shakers out of paper towel rolls. So I'm trying to do some really simple things with the materials that they have at home. We're gonna be doing self-portraits, looking, what color eyes do you have? And having kids do self-portraits live with me online with different, but the thing is, I can say, bring your pastels. Some just have markers. So you have to just be flexible. And it's not gonna be the same as when we have them in small groups at school doing projects. So you just try and be a little bit more flexible with that.
Let's see, there's a couple more questions. Did you make the shakers live?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
you
they
know what? Things can go horribly wrong when you're doing this, right? Maybe you'll spill rice all over the floor. And you can go get your broom and clean it up, or you can go, whoopsies, did that happen to you? Oh, that can be really frustrating, right? So being real and authentic and building this relationship with each other is really important. But yeah, I did this live. So I did kind of short things, short art projects live. You can also do paper plates where you fold it in half and they can decorate the paper plates, things like that. Also, I think you saw on my, where is it? In the slideshow, I also talk a little bit about Van Gogh, and I've got a really wonderful book that I've shared in the notes about Van Gogh. And we're coming up to doing it again, where I asked the parents to buy some sunflowers and set up a little flower arrangement. And live, we draw from our still lives. And there was some amazing artwork. And I said, you can bring paints, you can do markers, whatever you want, and really fill the page. And when we read the book about Van Gogh's sunflowers, which is on our list, it was really inspiring. So what we're doing is we're inspiring, launching them off, and hopefully when we log out of Zoom, they're still working on things and still thinking about it.
Somebody was asking about how about literacy, but it sounds like you do a lot of book reading. Yeah,
I read a book every time. It's really the element that I have. you know, it's really tempting. And there are some books that, especially if you don't have a good library, I happen to have a huge library of books, but you can look online and get some books online. But it's tempting to just click on the video of reading books, but then you don't get a chance to have that interaction. You know, when a parent is reading a book or you're reading a book one-on-one with a kid, you can ask them a question. Do you like mud puddles? Have you ever jumped in a mud puddle? And really asking directly to them and trying to look right into the camera. That's where Zooms are kind of tough because often we're looking at ourselves and, you know, checking ourselves, but looking right in the camera at that kid saying, do you like to jump in puddles? Do you have boots to jump into puddles? And to make comments during the story too. And that you can't do when you're just running a video.
Right, right, good point.
No,
There's someone shared, oh, that they did watercolors on Zoom with their students, and it was really a relaxing experience that the children loved. There is a question about, are the families you're Zooming with part of your school community? Any new ones that are simulating special outreaches needed?
That's a really good question. I'm going to answer the first one with that. Well, it wasn't a question. You're right. Watercolors are amazing. And I love the liquid watercolors from Discount School Supply, which is my favorite place to buy things. And, you know, sometimes you can just do drawing and painting to classical music. And you turn on a really wonderful piece of classical music that you can find on YouTube or in your iTunes library. And just paint, and that's really relaxing. I got a lot of comments from both children and parents about being able to paint and draw to classical music, just as you did when you were in school. Maybe you've pulled out a great big sheet of paper and had people draw and feel the music. Is the music going fast or slow? And having that influence the way you're using your tools. And the other thing was, engagement. I can check with parents. If I see somebody who's not logging on regularly, I'll give them a call and ask them what's going on. And sometimes it can be, my kid doesn't want to log on anymore. And you can hear the parents. This is not preschool. And I said, yeah, it's not preschool, right? We're not trying to do preschool here. And really let the parents vent a little bit, because sometimes the kid's attitude has to do with the parents' attitude. If parents are really negative about Zoom, and I email parents specifically when I'm, just as a reminder to stay positive about Zoom, because kids are following their parents' leads. So sometimes I'll do an individual Zoom with the child who doesn't want to log in, and I'll just do a special Zoom. And I know the kids pretty well because we're a small school, or I'll ask the parents what they're into lately. And I might read them a story about a dump truck if that's really what they're into, or so trying to find a topic that they're especially interested in. And once you do a one-on-one Zoom, they're more likely to come into the group Zoom back again. And then being enthusiastic when you see them. Oh, hi, Rachel, we haven't seen you in so long. And really just being able to do that and acknowledging, calling out their names as you're doing it. If you're dancing, saying, wow, you're reaching way up high, you know, and really speaking directly to the child so they feel heard and noticed.
There was one comment too that someone said they're not allowed to tell the parents to purchase materials because they're low income families. So they have to get really creative with the art materials and what they're asking them to use.
You know, that's a good, you know, sometimes you can get donations. I got a big donation from Walmart of markers, which I distributed. So sometimes you can get a donation from a store that you can distribute to your parents, but also I think that is all the more important thing to know, to be adaptable, that to think of projects with materials that people would have around the house anyway. Almost everybody has wooden spoons, for example, but they may not be able to buy rhythm sticks. So I think that's really important to knowing your community and queuing in. And most of my parents are pretty wealthy, but a lot of them were just overwhelmed when I first started, I sent them a big list from Amazon. Most of them didn't buy it. Or they bought a couple of things and forgot about it. So finding what people have around the house, I think, is the easiest.
It looks like that's it. I do want to remind everybody that the survey link has been put in the chat, so be sure to fill out the survey, and then you will receive your certificate. Let's see, I sent home the cream of tartar. Whoops, let's see. One other comment. I sent home the cream of tartar for families to help them make homemade Play-Doh. Yeah, that's because that's an ingredient that you might not have. Flour you'll have, but cream of tartar might be something you wouldn't have.
Yeah, and cream of tartar can be expensive too. I buy it, I buy it in bulk, but that can be expensive. These things add up.
Mhm.
All right, let's see. I don't, someone's saying they don't see the link. It just got put in right above you. It went to everyone. It's a doc, a Google Doc that Fran just sent, Cheryl. You see it now? Let me know if you see it, Cheryl. It was right above your message. Okay, great. All right. Fran, are you, there we go, there she put it in
I
again.
think I will speak for the group, Sylvia. The comments have been so impressive relating to your energy. I think you've made a lot of people envious, but also there is a spirit I sense in the notes from the chat that people want to be reminded of the need to have some of this energy when they're interacting with children. And for that, we want to thank you not only for reminding us of how important that is, but of the willingness to keep engaging and to keep trying to figure out new ways and to use the creativity that all of us have in working with children, because it does sort of, restart you again. And that's what I was sensing from a lot of the comments in the chat. People felt rejuvenized if in the way of seeing someone who is doing what they are doing, but you've given them some new ideas and approaches. And we want to thank you for that. And we did pay attention, folks. We heard you. Science, math, literacy.
Yes.
We'll see how we can approach that. But we want to thank you on behalf of the Southern California chapter for spending some of your Saturday morning time. And we look forward to connecting again, probably most likely via Zoom. But as Sylvia has tried to impress upon us, it's doable. Thank you all. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Complete the survey.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.